know Santa does his very best to deliver, but sometimes that Christmas list is just too long for the big guy to fill. So we're thinking ahead, helping you prepare your kids to handle disappointment during the holidays and even beyond. Family researcher Heather Johnson is here with some pointers to help kids learn from letdowns. It's great to have you. Expectations are high this time of year. It can set the kids up for holiday disappointment, and not to neglect the parental side of this as well. There's some disappointment all around sometimes.
Absolutely. And remember, disappointment isn't just when you're a kid at Christmas. We face disappointment every day until we die, right? There's always something that could hit us that's disappointing. So the power behind this isn't just getting through Christmas Day. The power behind this is that we need to teach our children to handle disappointment now so that they become adults who can also handle disappointment. A lot of the things we see in the media, the things we're seeing online, when adults act out, it's oftentimes because they're unable to deal with or handle being disappointed.
That's a good point.
And so we've got to recognize we need to set our children up with this skill to use it forever.
And so don't just see Christmas morning, those disappointed eyes and the tears welling up.
Right.
It's just a passing emotion. Really use it as a lifelong teaching.
Absolutely. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start by helping them understand that there are things we can control and there's things that we can't, right? Start right there at the beginning. When our daughter has a play date set up and the other mom calls an hour before and cancels, we can't control that. Right? That's going to happen again a million other ways in her life. And so she needs to understand there are some things we have a handle on and some things that we don't. Now, when our children are faced with disappointment that they can't control, the very first thing we want to do is validate the feelings of disappointment. Don't ever dismiss them. Those are real to our kids. Just like if my husband dismissed my disappointment in something, that's telling me I can't feel. We don't want to do that.
You're saying I can sense, I can see you're disappointed.
Absolutely. Validate it. Recognize that it's there. And then the next thing we want to do, and this covers all our points today, ask them what you can do instead. Don't tell them, well, let's do this instead. Well, let's go get ice cream or let's go to the park. Ask them, what could we do instead? The power behind this is when disappointment hits, we need to put ourselves in a position where we can answer and solve our own problems. We want our kids to look at a situation, feel the disappointment and say, what are 5 or 6 other solutions to this?
And let them
Let's figure it out and let them drive it. Now, once we've done that, it's really important as we talk about driving it to be their guide and not their savior. There will be plenty of times when our kids will not have us there to help them through a situation. So we need to teach them by guiding them and helping them learn the steps to take instead of taking it away from them.
As we look at this long-reaching goal, right, the far perspective, you say one danger of not knowing how to handle disappointment, as if we need more motivation to coach this forward, is that kids will then stop doing the things they aren't good at.
Right. Now, we have a tendency as adults and children to only participate in things that we know we can succeed at, that we're good at. Now, think about it. I think about myself. I don't wake up in the morning and think, let's go fail at something. I think, let's go do something that's a strength. And our kids are the same way. The problem is when we do things that are hard or new, we need to fail so that we learn that failure doesn't kill us. And our kids have to learn that same thing. They've got to learn and go through a process of trying something new, realizing they might not be the best or that they didn't succeed the way they wanted, and that it's okay. I didn't die. I learned from it. This will enable them to not be scared of failure, so they'll try new things again. So we've got to help them understand, try it, go give it a shot. It's about the effort you put in anyways, right? Not if you win or lose. Go give it a shot and see what happens.
You talked about not being dismissive of their emotions, right? Of validating. So I imagine your tongue's kind of twirling around that word of empathy. Does that apply here?
Absolutely. Always show empathy. That's the first thing we really should do as a parent always. Unless there's imminent danger where a car's coming, or the very first thing we can always do is look at them and recognize they need empathy. Now, empathy comes when we decide to get down on their level and put ourselves in our position. What would it be like, or what was it like when I was 6 and I waited 7 full days, which is hard to comprehend at 6 years old, for a play date that got canceled an hour before? That's devastating. Once we put ourselves in that position, we recognize what it might feel like. Once we understand, we're then able to do what's best for our children because we have true understanding.
Do we worry about playing up the drama at all of it and building it up bigger in their minds than it really is? Or what are some things I guess we could avoid saying to avoid that situation?
Well, we're going to make sure that we never say things like, it's no big deal.
Okay. Never
dismiss it. One that I don't say usually but always comes through my mind is I want to say, you're acting like a baby. And that's very silly, but that's one I have to catch myself on. I want to look, at our 12-year-old and say, you're acting like you're 2, what's going on?
Right.
But that's dismissive. There's no empathy behind that. That's me trying to get rid of it, and I don't see them as a person, I see them as an object. Remember, confidence in ourselves and for our children comes through overcoming difficult things, not from being told we're great. And so we don't want to avoid or dismiss this feeling of failing or being disappointed. We want them to grasp onto it because that's what makes them strong. That's where they get their confidence. So that's what we're trying to do here, right?
Awesome. Awesome, Heather. Great advice, as always. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you.
You got some wrapping to do.
Yes,
I
a lot.
understand.
A lot.
Shopping and all of the above. I'm in the same boat.